May 31st, 2020. School teacher and divorced mother of two, Lindsay Jeter, came home from work to find sheriff's deputies in the front yard.
I immediately knew something was wrong.
They had news about her 7-year-old son, Mason.
He said, well, your son has been in a plane crash, and I'm here to take you to him. My initial reaction was to be very upset. I said, is he gonna be okay? And he said, ma'am, I don't know.
Mason, his dad, and uncle, the pilot, were taking a scenic flight in Pineville, Louisiana, when the small plane crashed shortly after takeoff. Both men were killed instantly. Mason was thrown clear when his seatbelt tore and the top of the plane was ripped off.
I remember just pleading and begging God, please, please, just help him be okay.
The officers drove Lindsay to Rapids Medical Center 30 minutes away. Lindsay's mother, Marilyn Smith, followed.
It was horrible. I called a friend of mine and I told her, I just need you to get people together and start praying because I don't know what injuries he has and I don't know how bad he is.
Finally, they got to Mason's side.
It was terrifying because his head was swollen, his eyes were purple and swollen. It was just surreal.
That's an image that you don't ever get out of your head. It was very shocking to see him like that. He was almost unrecognizable. Just a horrific scene.
Mason's injuries were extensive. He had several broken bones, a skull fracture that left him with brain swelling, and multiple organ damage that included bruised lungs and a lacerated liver. Though the boy was stable, doctors warned he might have permanent brain damage. Mason was in a medically induced coma and on a ventilator to help reduce the brain swelling. Marilyn, a former ICU nurse, understood his injuries better than most and knew what was at stake.
With each one, I just felt more crushed and more crushed because there was so many of them. They were all severe, and any one of them could have had severe complications that would have taken him away from us.
Word of the accident spread, and friends and family gathered from all over the surrounding area to comfort the grieving family and to pray. Some, including Lindsay's fellow teachers, met in the parking lot below Mason's room as he was taken into surgery to repair his broken femur.
They did a candlelight vigil for him. It's amazing, very humbling.
That was very heartwarming. We knew that Mason had lots and lots of prayers going up, and that's what would get him through this.
The surgery was successful. Then, as they waited for his lungs and other organs to heal and the swelling in his brain to go down, Lindsay says God led her to read Psalm 91, verse 11.
He showed me that he's given us angels to guard us. That exponentially increased my faith. And I prayed that God would dispatch his guardian angels to watch over him.
Over the next few days, Mason's lungs began to improve, and his liver healed. Then on Friday, 5 days after the accident, Mason's kidneys started to fail, a sign that his organs may be shutting down.
Definitely scary, but I just had a sense of peace about that and just totally, utterly leaning on God in a way that I had never had to before.
By Monday morning, Mason's kidneys had drastically improved, and doctors felt certain they would fully recover. What they weren't sure about was how much, if any, brain damage Mason suffered. Then 4 days later, on June 5th, Mason was taken off the vent and brought out of the coma. It was an anxious moment for Lindsay.
He didn't immediately recognize me, and that scared me. He recognized my mom, but he did not recognize me.
Then, half an hour later, Mason called Lindsay Mom.
As his memory returned and we knew that his brain function was fully there, that was very comforting.
After just over 2 weeks in the hospital, Mason was released.
That he's here is a miracle, but that he had no permanent organ damage, no permanent brain damage, which is a total miracle.
Today, Mason is a healthy, active boy who still loves flying. Soon after the accident, he was accepted into his school's academically gifted program. After all he's been through, Mason has learned a lot about prayer.
The power of prayer is very strong. It's really just cool to know that all those people cared about me.
Prayer altered this story. It could have been so different. You know, he may not have healed as quickly, wouldn't even be here possibly. I think that the Lord definitely honors our prayer, and I think it's so important.
I just believe that there was a league of angels that were assigned to him at that moment that jerked him out of that plane. When it crashed, Mason kept flying, and he flew with them. But I think that without the prayers, I don't know that we would have had the same outcome. There is mighty power in every prayer, and the Lord still is in the miracle business. He's still performing miracles every day.